make sure that that did not repeat itself for the guys on our team. So that's all you do. And then if that's not good enough, you can lay your head down knowing that you gave it all you had.
It's 88 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Well, ladies, once again, I'm nervous. Florida won yesterday. That was brilliant. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But yet again, nervous leading into today. But tonight I have to wait till 7 o'clock. But all you Knowles, you get to feel what I felt yesterday, and that is first pitch, 2 o'clock. Here we go. Start your afternoon.
Hey, I don't want to hear anybody complaining we don't have sports during the day because, man,
Exactly.
oh, man, shout out to the College World Series. It's not the dead period after all.
It really doesn't feel like we've had one day where we've looked at each other and been like, all right, so what are we going to talk about now? It's more that we can't even get to all the subjects that we want to discuss and the topics. By the way, quick funny story. So we did a station-wide guess the baby photo contest, right? And everybody, not everyone, but for the most part, a lot of people submitted pictures. And so the news came out yesterday that I won. That was great, exciting. So today, not thinking anything about that, I see Jack and he goes, hey, congrats on the baby thing. And I was like, what?
Excuse me?
You might have the wrong person. And then I remembered that he was talking about the baby photo contest. And I was like, oh, thank you. I appreciate
I know,
that.
because so she just went and wrote up the names so we could, go
Yes,
back
Michelle
and
Queen
figure out what
did,
we were wrong and right. I did mine before I went on vacation in May, so I genuinely have I was like, I can't remember anything.
It's been
that was
so long
a
since
month
we
and a
started
half
this.
ago almost
Yes.
for me.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And I will tell y'all, I spent way too much time and energy on it.
Mine was like just fill it through. I'm like that though. Like I do not want to spend. That's why I'm not good at sports that take too much like analyzing. Like golf, not good at. Bowling, not good at. Darts, pool. Those type of things where you really have to like, okay, measure and think. Like I want it fast paced. Give me like volleyball because you're just reacting almost.
Right.
You still have to have like talent, but that same thing. I was like, if I think too hard, I'm going to be standing here for 4 days, so I'm not doing that.
Well, I was an idiot, and I took pictures of all the pictures and then went home to study them.
Jesus, God, you took this a lot more seriously. No wonder you won.
But
oh
not
my
realizing, no, here's the terrible part, not realizing that we already had the list of the names. I was trying to figure out who the people were, not even knowing who submitted pictures and who didn't. So then I realized it was going to be way easier than I had made it out to be.
And you know the 1010 roster better than me, so because I would be like, wait, that person works here? I'm just kidding. But it was involving all facets of the station.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was fun. Even if I didn't win, I still would have thought it was fun because we certainly have not seen what a lot of these people look like as babies.
Some I was like, JJ was so cute. And that one picture, I was trying to figure out that for so long. I was staring at that person who was JJ. And I'm like, who is that? And I'm like going through it. I'm like, it was that right in middle age. I could tell early 90s, but I was like, it could be mid 80s. So I kept going back and forth. And then when it was JJ, I was like, oh, duh. So cute.
I don't regard myself as a procrastinator for anything, but it was one of those things that I just kept putting it off until the final day, and then the queen of the building was like, you need to do it right now. You have literally 10 minutes. You need to fill it out. And so when the pressure was on, I wasn't quite as locked in as Lauren was, literally going through eye color.
I'm
and
way too competitive.
Facial expressions. But yeah, good to know that was the baby thing at 1010, not anything else it could possibly be.
All right, let's get it to from a fun topic to not so fun, but it ends up, I think, turning out to be great.
It's fun. If you're a round of applause, RJ, if you are a fan. I know Donna Murphy's listening somewhere in Healigan Nation. If you're a fan of the Boston Celtics, today is a great day.
Yes.
16 years to the day, they raised their 18th banner. Anything is possible. Not once, but twice. Lightning can, in fact, strike in the same place twice, and they get to do it in front of their home crowd.
Yes, absolutely. But you think of the pain that you have to go through at times to get to that success, that championship, that greatness. And I think every athlete would say it's worth it, even if you never win the championship. It's worth all of the sweat equity that you put into it to just get to play the sport that you've dreamed of playing your whole life. But for Jason Tatum, I loved this quote. So after Game 3, he met with Bleacher Report, and he told them that losing to the Warriors in 2022 was, quote, the worst feeling ever, end quote, and that the offseason that followed was the worst summer he had ever had. So he vowed himself that if they ever got back to the finals, he would do literally whatever he needed to do to ensure that they had a different outcome. I think of this when it comes to Rory McIlroy and what he went through. We know now, he posted yesterday that he's going to have to take a few weeks off, and he said that that was the worst day of his professional career. We think about when it comes to the Jaguars, Doug Peterson said after the season that he doesn't think he'll ever get over the collapse the way that it ended, losing 5 out of 6. There's always going to be pain in sports, but in certain circumstances, I do think it can push athletes or teams to get to that promised land.
Well, let's take it all the way back to 2018. Jason Tatum was drafted in 2017, Jaylen Brown the year prior, and they went on a Cinderella run 1 year into Tatum's tenure in the NBA following his 1 year at Duke. And that was when Brad Stevens, the former head coach of the Boston Celtics, now, of course, their senior executive, uttered a line that I know in my friend circle we use this quite often, whether in jest or whether with regards to the serious conversation we're having currently with sports right here on this program, which is the pain is part of the path. I know I've jokingly used that phrase. I've used it in reality when it comes to sports, your career path, whatever it may be. And that was in 2018. So, yes, Lauren, we could go back to the loss to the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals in 2022 and how that powered Jason Tatum to get to this upper echelon star level to a point where Brian Windhorst and Adrian Wojnarowski are saying he will become the highest paid player in the NBA. He has finally won that elusive championship and brought it back to Boston. But this has been brewing for quite some time. This is a Boston Celtics team that has been in the mix and has been always the bridesmaid, never the bride, the duration of Jason Tatum's career in the National Basketball Association. Rory McIlroy is a little bit different because he comes hot out of the gates, not too unlike Jason Tatum when he first emerged onto the scene in the NBA. But I think that it's interesting to compare the two because one has never had the taste of a championship, was the darling, but never actually won it all. The other won 4 majors right out of the gate and now has gone through this drought of sorts.
And that's what we've had the conversation before of, would you rather be that team that's in the mix all the time but never gets the big trophy, or would you rather be that team that does get it pretty quickly, but then you have years of sadness afterwards? And
would you rather get a Super Bowl, guaranteed a Super Bowl, versus 10 years of winning seasons? But as
you
opposed
get a Super
to one,
Bowl, but you lose the 10 seasons before and after.
It's like the Royals.
Or
The Royals
would you
have
rather
a World
be the
Series,
Steelers
but
the last 20 years and
Right.
you're competitive, but everyone's like, okay, but we haven't won. It's been 12 years now since they've won a Super Bowl. And I guess that's not as long as obviously some other teams, but still for them to be constantly in that mix and be right there, but never quite be able to get over that hill. And we've done the polls, we've seen the polls on Twitter, and they're always pretty divided, honestly, of what that. Like, some people are just like, keep it fun, keep it competitive. I want to be in the talk every year. And some people are like, nah, give me that championship. I don't care what happens beyond that. So I'm sure for players it's a little different. Like you said, Lauren, these guys, I'm sure, enjoy all of the steps and up and down. You're in the NBA. Like, your dream has come true, you even playing in the NBA. But I know the next thing they have these lists of, the next one is, I'm sure, winning a championship. So for him, it was that kind of final tally of, here's my goals for life, and now you've done everything, so now what, And that's when the question comes of, do the Celtics keep being the Celtics team? Because it has been someone for the past, like you said, they've been in the mix for a while. Every year we're talking about the Celtics being able to be one of those teams that could potentially win it all. Boston sports in general, I almost jokingly tweeted last night, like, cool, another Boston championship. And it always brings me back to JJ when he said he went to Boston. He visited Boston with his wife for the first time, and the hours on front of, like, the restaurants and stuff say, like, weekday hours, da-da-da, weekend hours, da-da-da, championship day hours, this. And they have that because they've won so many freaking championships in Boston. They have to have that because it's just a normal thing.
Although it is interesting, because if you go through, and FanDuel actually tweeted it out today, so I want to pull up the exact numbers. When you actually go through the championships that Boston has won in the new millennium, right? So since 2000.
Well, just being there.
Right. This is just being there, yeah. So that's an additional.
Those
list.
are championship hours.
This is since 2000. So the Patriots, I mean, it goes without
6
saying.
titles.
01, 03, 04, a little bit of a break there. 14, 16, 18. The Red Sox, 04, of course, on the heels of an 86-year drought.
Mm-hmm.
07, 13, 18, pretty good consistency. The Celtics, 08 to 24, perhaps the biggest drought besides the Boston Bruins, who 2011 to now, where they still have not won a championship. I go to, and we talked about this when we talked about our most excruciating moments as sports fans, being that little kid watching the ALCS Game 7 of 2004, little did I know that already the Patriots had claimed a Super Bowl earlier that year. So that was 04. We already had dealt with 2 Tom Brady championships. But the Red Sox, come on, they're never going to win anything. 04, so that's now 4 titles. 07, 08 for the Celtics, 11 for the Bruins. Like 7 championships just in my middle school and high school years.
Yeah.
And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like I grew up in a household where we didn't necessarily root for teams. We just rooted against Boston teams. And yes, I have a Boston Celtics hat on right now.
I was going to ask that question.
That's a story for another time. We could get to that later in the program. But it's just crazy because I know we look at them that way now, Taylor, but we didn't look at Boston this way in the 90s. They were not. Yes, I understand Larry Bird. All due respect to the great one and the Boston Celtics run of the 80s. I don't think we viewed Boston and New England sports the way we do the past 20 years as we did the 20 years prior.
Well, the Patriots, I think, changed all of
That's
that
what I was
because people do care about the other sports and those championships matter. But once an NFL team goes on the type of dynasty run that the Patriots did, that changes everyone's view of the city.
Yeah, and I think at some point that's when the question comes, like, when do things change? And when you go to the pain aspect of this, like, does pain lead to winning? There's been a lot of pain here. When does that part end and the winning starts and consistently?
You mean
and,
here in this town?
In Jacksonville. Because that's when, yes, like we talk about it all the time about how, like, Green Bay pre-80s were bad. Like, they struggled really bad. The Bears had their number for a long time, and then that flipped, obviously, and they've barely been able to lose in the last whatever years. I think the Steelers have probably been one of the ones that have been they've had 3 head coaches forever. So that's one thing. But even that, you see the flip-flops of teams that have their struggles in the past and then have found a way to be good. And it's kind of, I think, cities like Jacksonville are waiting for, okay, when is our time? Because it's been so long of all of this pain. And I get, like, the city itself, not all these players on the Jags now have gone through the 25-plus years of it, but there has been a lot of these guys, even when you look at the Niners, I'm sure Eric Armstead's like, man, we've been right there, like, so many times these last few years, and we haven't been able to do it, and I'm sure he wants it maybe even more so than some of the players here in Jackson
you
that
can argue
have been in the Jags.
The Bay Area, I mean, I guess you had the 3 Giants World Series titles every other year, so that that was 2011 to 2015-ish, I think was like the stretch that it was. I don't think has there been the Warriors. Yeah, I'm an idiot. The Warriors. Yes.
Well, it's tricky when it's called Golden State, so it's not exactly San Francisco,
it's not tricky, Lauren. I'm just an idiot. But no, like
it's not tricky.
Yeah, but even then, having popped on, no, you could call me an idiot. Having popped on 95-7 the game out in San Francisco, you would think though that they were championship starved, because the Warriors have not won in checks notes 2 years, and before that they hadn't won in checks notes 4 years. And again, to your point, it's an embarrassment of riches.
Part of that though, like, football rules.
Yes.
And so when it's not the football team, maybe,
which is crazy to think, because the Golden State Warriors, there was a time in the 21st century where you could argue they were the most popular team regardless of sport.
Yeah.
It's why LeBron going to Cleveland and bringing the championship there mattered so much, because the Browns, like, what have you done for me lately, right? And so,
although I'm sure there's people in Cleveland that would tell you that it was big because I think they accepted that they were just never going to see a Browns championship in their lifetime at that juncture, and maybe still have. But at the same time, I think there will be people who would tell you that they've probably forgotten and just accepted the Cavaliers championship, because it was just like, oh, yeah, that was nice. Now when are the Browns going to do it? Because it's a football town.
Yeah, and they got somewhat close, I would say, with Baker. And as far as the winning, it changed. You know, they were obviously the team that was 0-16.
Yeah.
And offered Bud Light to everyone for free if they were going to win a game. By the way, speaking of the Celtics, of course, I have to give a shout out to Al Horford. Age 38, wins his first NBA championship, 17 years in the league, obviously graduated from the University. Well, I don't know if he graduated, but attended the University of Florida.
Is he going to retire, though, Lauren?
Why would you retire?
I would. Go out on top, dude. You can't guarantee.
They might win again next year.
No, but
and you can make another I don't know, 20 million.
Do we need to go down the Tom Brady route where it's fine, we will get back? You cannot guarantee you're going to get back. Injuries happen. Fluky, the ball goes out of bounds happens.
But Brady went to a new team and still won a championship.
No, but
outside of him,
he's admitted part of why the divorce and everything that occurred to his family occurred because he wanted to play that one extra season. Yes, I understand it was not the season right after the championship season, but sometimes you fly too close to the sun and you're not ready to give it up. And as a kid, I remember watching Jerome Bettis retire at the Super Bowl and thinking, wow, that's crazy. There's probably a generation of kids walking around right now saying, wow, I can't believe Aaron Donald retired at 32 or however many years old he is. But there is something to be said of I have done everything I can possibly do. I have my health, I have my money, and I have the championship. Why not walk away now, Al? You did it.
It's hard for them.
You
It's
did
hard.
it.
It's hard to walk away
life.
because, again, he's not even 40, and if he's still able to play, as we saw, he's still able to play competitive basketball.
Ripe
and yes,
old age of 40.
yeah, he makes $27 million, by the way. That's the other reason you don't. Because even if you sit on the bench a little bit more and you practice more of the load management, you're making $27 million. Like, I wouldn't walk away at that point in time. Now, if you're suddenly starting to get injury prone and you're missing life in general because of the injuries, then I can understand that.
I guess Udonis held on for a long time. And I guess he just banked on.
He did.
We're going to win another one.
I saw the quote from Travis Kelce, too, where he was like, I'm going to play until the wheels fall off.
Right.
And, like, that's their mindset because they're like,
Right.
This is our life. This is everything. Like, our career, our friends, our brothers, our coaches, our mentors, like, everything in our life outside of probably their, like, wife and kids is involved in this one aspect. And so it's hard for them to just be like, okay, bye. Like, I'm not good enough to play this sport anymore, so I've got to walk away.
And if you're actually getting minutes, I mean, you
Yeah.
certainly at that point in time are not going to walk away. And I do think the Celtics could be on the trajectory, Mia, of winning multiple championships. So why not ride on those coattails and keep winning, too?
Right on cue, Jimmy Shapiro from BetOnline has released the way too early odds to win the 2025 NBA championship. The Celtics currently 3-1, the Denver Nuggets 7-1, the Dallas Mavericks, the third best odds at 8-1, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the fourth best odds at 9-1. So let's segue back to our big overarching topic and bring it to the other side of last night's Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The Dallas Mavericks, in his first appearance in an NBA Finals, Luka Doncic unfortunately fouled out of more games than he won them, ladies. And there is now a knock on Luka Doncic, whether it's local sports radio to national television to pundits across the nation. Will we see, in crunch moments, in the quote-unquote prime of his career, will we see a Luka who is spending most of his time, I should say, on the court, pouting to the referees, complaining about the officiating, flopping about, or will we see a player who plays with the poise and the class and the mastery on the floor as a floor general that has many people believing he is a top 3 player in the world right now?
Well, our conversation yesterday, Taylor, was all about Bryson DeChambeau and the fact that he's done a complete 180 in the eyes of not just media, but other golfers.
Yeah.
And his personality has changed so much as far as his growth, his maturity, and learning to laugh at things that otherwise might have made him furious in the past. And so, to me, yes, Luka right now, that's how he's going to be viewed. And until the season starts, and if they make it to the NBA Finals again next year, that's going to be the topic of conversation, is can he control his emotions on the court? But we know the answer is athletes can grow and mature and change as they get older.
Yeah, and I also do think, like, the golf and team sport is different, too. It's, like, Rory, that's on you. Sorry, guy. Like, you're the one who missed
Sorry, bro. That's on you.
That's on you. With Luka, I mean, the guy at 28, 29, 27, 32, and 30 points while getting fouled out. And it's like, are you going to get some help? What is, to
Well,
me,
they brought in Kyrie, and that's here's my thing.
but Kyrie kind of fell short, honestly, once it got to the finals. He had the game 1 where I was like, okay, I feel like everything's going to mesh well. And then obviously they ended up winning that game 4. But I think that they brought in Kyrie to be that Robin.
Yes.
And it just wasn't quite up to the level. But it's like the way that Luka was having to play defense and then also score all of the points at the same time, I think it was more so for him. I'm sure frustrating because he probably felt like he was having to do everything.
Right. Luka playing defense, by the way, LOL.
Yeah.
Kyrie decided to show up in the NBA Western Conference Finals, in my opinion. This idea of they are the best backcourt that the NBA has ever seen, or at least has seen in recent history, is quite revisionist history, because this is a team that went into the playoffs as the 5th seed in the Western Conference. It's a team that really was only performing at peak efficiency when Irving decided he wanted to show up, which didn't happen until the postseason. And when it came to facing his former teammates and a team that, quite frankly, shares the basketball, moves the basketball better than anybody else in the league. It's the reason that Charles Barkley and so many others said as early as the divisional round, they were like, hey, it doesn't matter who comes out of the West because they're going to lose to the Celtics anyways. It was as if Kyrie Irving just was content with dribbling the ball up and down the baseline and trying to find Derek Lively Jr. for an alley-oop, maybe chucking up a 3 in the corner. And there was no passing. There was no team basketball outside of perhaps setting up for an alley-oop.
Well, and that's what, look, Mia, when you go back to games 3 and 4, 3 probably was like the most competitive, fun game in my opinion, and then game 4, obviously the Mavericks were able to win. Those were Kyrie's 2 best games.
Correct.
But they weren't able to do that for an entire series, like both of them. In addition, we talked about this all year about how the Celtics were so well-rounded in general. When you're counting on 2 guys to score all your points in the NBA Finals, that's not.
But that's been the nature
enough.
of Luka's teams.
Yeah.
Every team that Mark Cuban and company have built in Dallas have been exactly this. And so I even asked Kevin the question last night, and maybe this is a loaded question to leave our Heeligans with as we get ready to take our first break and then get ready to say hello to our first guest. Will Luka Doncic play his entire career with the Dallas Mavericks? I understand we're in a day and age in which the likes of Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant, LeBron James have bounced around, especially in the second half of their careers. We don't see as many Steph Currys as we do guys that have played for multiple teams. But I wonder if Luka is 100% happy with management, to your point, Taylor, because have they done enough to compete with the Joneses, to compete with the Boston Celtics, to give him more playmakers, even as we exit the super team stage, as we enter an era in which so long as you have your number 1 and number 2 option, and then you have great role players, i.e. a Drew Holiday, a healthy Kristaps Porzingis to fill out that starting lineup, that's okay, and that will compete in this day and age.
But
Well,
that's the thing, though, is Luka the type of guy that other guys then want to go play with him
Correct.
because of maybe the
Being
personality,
the loyalty side
yeah,
of it.
and exactly that too.
Well, but also the pouting, the
yeah,
you
that,
know,
I mean, I don't.
refereeing, right.
Yeah, I don't
I
want
was
to
saying if
necessarily.
he stayed.
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily share the court with a guy that I can't trust in the crucial moments because he's going to lose it and end up, fouling out. So I think that's another question for them as well. But to me, at the end of the day, oh, by the way, I don't even know if we've mentioned Jaylen Brown yet.
Yeah,
And
by the way.
Oh, yeah, he was the
actual
MVP.
MVP. So, yeah, as much as I brought the topic up, obviously, because of what Tatum had said to media following that loss, that he just wanted to make sure that he would never again lose in the NBA Finals. And it's that kind of fire that I want to see out of Trevor and the boys this season for the Jags. I want to see that we are not going to miss the postseason. At least let's start there.
And to just tie in too, because one of the things I saw something on Twitter last week, and I came to RJ about it, and to kind of get his opinion, and because this is the 7th different champion now in the NBA, the last 7 years, 7 different champions in 7 years, and someone had tweeted, and they're like, what is causing this in the NBA all of a sudden to not have back-to-backs the way we used to have, or three-peats the way that we used to have? And me and RJ were both kind of like, the way guys jump around now, like the way that you kind of,
everyone's on 1-year contracts.
Yes, and relating that to the NFL of how important it is to draft, develop, re-sign your players that have deserved their contracts, and so many teams are scared to do that, but the ones that you see are successful are the ones who are not scared to do that.
Absolutely. All right, like Mia said, our first guest joins us next. We're going to talk some golf with Stephanie Colony Eisworth. The Women's PGA Championship begins on Thursday, and she will be playing in it, so we will check in with her next, right here on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
I'm Brett Musburger, and you are listening live to Jacksonville Sports Radio, 1010XL.
This is Hayes Carlion for QC Kinetics. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, give my friends at QC Kinetics a call at 904-274-5522 for a free consultation. They're serving the Jacksonville area with locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue so you can walk, run, hike, play golf, move again, pain-free. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. Stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 904-274-5522 in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. That is QC Kinetics.
Hey Jacksonville, looking for an easy way to feed your friends and family this summer? Let your local Chick-fil-A restaurant cater your next gathering. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nugget trays, mac and cheese, and of course, gallons of Chick-fil-A tea and lemonade, perfect for a get-together of any size. Place an order through the Chick-fil-A app, online, or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A or get it delivered directly to your door. Enjoy more of the summer season with your loved ones when you take cooking off the plate and let Chick-fil-A do it. See restaurant for details.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. WaterBoyJAX.com.
How can you reach your weight loss goals by the 4th? Simple. Make a Bacon 180 with Awaken 180. Bacon's on the table, burgers, lobsters, you name it. Don't sacrifice the summer avoiding what you love. Make a Bacon 180 at Awaken180weightloss.com.
The All-Pro Roofing phone line protects you from boring radio.
Hello? What are you doing here?
I don't know. Listen for great phone interviews all day on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
The calls have been pouring in.
On 1010XL.
Hurricane season is here. Protect your property from parking lot floods with Duck Duck Rooter. Our VACCON team specializes in storm drain maintenance, keeping your property safe and secure. Schedule service now, 904-862-6769.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a godly example. Every day, we're setting an example in our words and actions. And many times, we can act one way in one setting and then totally different in another setting. My encouragement for you is to not send out mixed messages. God is depending on you to set the example in people's lives. You don't know, but you may be the only Bible that someone ever sees today.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
What's changed totally inside and out? The Kuhn Flowers massive storefront, and yes, they've totally remodeled the showroom inside too. This is Frank Frangie, and the next time you drive by, stop and smell the roses at Kuhn Flowers.
I-9 Sports is fired up for their summer flag football tournament series, so make sure your team is part of the action. It's all happening in June and July at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows at their brand new turf facility. Register as a team and join the fun at i9sports.com.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do, it's what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 2854-LAW. 2854-LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
Life has its share of challenges, and when it puts you to the test, make sure you reach out to Rebound Rehabilitation to give you the quickest path back to full health and confidence. Rebound Rehab, specializing in helping patients overcome back pain and sciatica, arthritis, and fibromyalgia, just to name a few. Rebound Rehab, locations covering the entire First Coast, getting you back in control with a pain-free life. Sports injury, workplace injury, whatever it might be, you can rebound. Log on to reboundrehab.com for more info.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
By day, she's a teaching instructor at San Jose Country Club right here in Jacksonville, FLA. But for a couple weeks out of the year, Stephanie Connolly-Eisworth gets to join the best of the best on the LPGA Tour, including this week at the KPGM Women's PGA Championship, her 6th time joining a field including the likes of Rose Zhang, Lexi Thompson, and the best female golfers in the world. And she joins us now live from, oh boy, ladies, I'm going to butcher this one.
I got you.
Sammamish?
No, Sammamish.
Sammamish, Washington. Stephanie.
Sahali Country Club, Sammamish, Washington.
Sammamish. Is that where we are? Sammamish, Washington,
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes, that's where we are. Sammamish.
And Sahali.
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 Yes.
Yeah. I did a little YouTubing earlier today to figure out how to pronounce these things. So yeah.
I had to do that too. I was calling it Sahali, I think. Yeah.
Is that
Sahali.
like, are we talking like Spokane, Seattle, Western?
It's near Seattle.
Okay.
It's near Seattle. Yep, just east of Seattle.
I was given a fun fact this week, Stephanie, by my boyfriend. Did you know that there is a certain area of Oregon and Washington that is only an hour behind parts of Florida because they technically are in the Washington or in the Rocky Mountain time zone, and then of course the Panhandle is in Central time zone. So you learn something new every day. But you're not in that neck of the woods. Yeah, you're not in that neck of the woods. You're out.
No.
You're
I'm
out in
definitely
the Pacific time zone out there in Sammamish, Washington, and again competing at the 2024 KPGM Women's PGA Championship later this week. How are you? How are things out there in Sammamish?
I'm good. It's beautiful. It's the time change, of course, is a little that's a challenge. So we came out Saturday night, so we'd have an extra, day to acclimate. But it's been chilly. That's it's 95 or whatever at home, and it's been maybe 65 so far. But it's gonna get a little warmer the next couple days, so that'll be nice. Get the body going, get the sun out. But it's beautiful here.
So I'm sure most of our listeners, who of course we affectionately refer to as Heeligans, Stephanie, I know they are familiar with the PGA Championship on the men's side, where of course, yes, you have the world's best of the best golfers, but you also have the opportunity for PGA Tour pros to be involved and be in the field. And it's a similar situation with the women's PGA Championship. So walk us through how many golfers are in the field and what the course is shaping up to look like this week.
Sure. So with the PGA Championship on the PGA Tour, there are 20, the Corbridge Financial team of 20. With the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, there are 8 of us this year. So we qualify through the LPGA Teaching Championship, and then we also have the PGA Women's Stroke Play. There's one spot there as well. So, we have the opportunity. There's 8 of us. There's 156 in the field. So only a couple of us, but it's great to be here representing the PGA of America and the LPGA. And the golf course is awesome. It's long, it's narrow. The greens are really good. It's still pretty soft because they have had some rain, but again, I think with it warming up and we're going to get some sunshine, it's going to dry out. They call it, like we were saying, Sahali. They call it the hallway. So the tee shots are very narrow. It kind of looks like you're going through a bowling alley, which I quite like it. It's just, you just hit it through the chute. It's not that hard. But it opens up down in the fairway area where your landing zones are, and it's really good. I think the bunkers will be a challenge. They've got some high faces to them, so you want to stay out of that. But you can keep it in the fairway. I think you can score just fine.
Yeah, you say not easy or not hard, and it's easy for you because last year you were the Women's PGA Professional Player of the Year. And so, Stephanie, I want to go back to how did you get involved with golf in the first place? Because I'm sure we have listeners out there going, I want my daughter to be a part of this one day.
Yeah, so I actually, my parents got me into it. they started playing when I was very young. My dad had dabbled very little as a kid, and they took it up as adults and took me. I'm an only child, so that is helpful. That they just took me along and would let me putt, and then I eventually, I worked from the green back. So my short game's kind of always been my favorite part of it, I think, because that's what I started with. But yeah, they took me out and just exposed me to the game, and I found a love for it. So they kept taking me and eventually got into local tournaments and, just kind of grew from there. So it's, I think biggest thing is just take the kids out, find an opportunity for them with group clinics, or if you're a parent that happens to enjoy the game, take your kids, expose them to it.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing is the exposure and having the opportunity to be able to do it. Stephanie, as we look at this weekend, tell us about some of the women that you're going to be teeing off against. Nelly Korda, Rose Zhang, Lexi Thompson, some of these names that are some of the best in women golf right now. How cool is it to just be right there alongside them in a week like this?
Oh, it's incredible. I grew up watching the game, the LPGA Tour. You had Sayri Pack, Annika Sorenstam, Lorena Ochoa were all big names, when I was a kid. And then now I'm watching these girls who are, a lot of them quite a bit younger than me now, fresh out of college or just going straight to the tour. And it's really cool to see them, just like Nelly having 6 or however many wins she's had this year now.
Yeah, 6.
It's an incredible run, I mean, you haven't had that in a long time in golf, and it just looks pretty effortless the way they do it. So I think it's a really good time for women's golf, and I'm glad to see, such a buzz about it. I think they're going to have quite a bit of fans out here. I think I was hearing something about overselling tickets maybe, so hopefully the crowds are going to be really big, and it'll be fun to put on a show this week.
Stephanie Connolly-Eisworth is our guest on the All-Pro Roofing Hotline. Again, by day, she is a teaching instructor down the road from us here at 1010XL World Headquarters at San Jose Country Club, and she is one of 8 PGA, LPGA Club pros who has earned a spot in the 2024 Women's PGA Championship later this week. Stephanie, like I mentioned, this is your 6th time making an appearance in this event. For you personally, what an honor, first of all, to be one of 8. But secondly, I'm curious in terms of the actual tournament play itself, how is the PGA Championship maybe different from some other events that you are a part of when you do appear on the LPGA circuit?
Sure. So this being a major championship, it's extra special. There's all of the finer details are just really paid attention to when you come here. You've got bigger grandstands. I mean, KPMG is, as the presenting sponsor, is just, gone above and beyond for the tour. And it's great to have such a large purse. I mean, it's not only that, but it's the grandstands. It's, the leadership summits that they put on as well. It's so much bigger. It feels like you're at the PGA Championship or the U.S. Open. So it's just bigger. There's more buzz around. The golf courses, are perfect, and there's a lot of media. It's just all of those extra details that you don't have at maybe just a regular event.
For people who want to watch, it starts on Thursday with the first round. You can watch it on Peacock from 4 to 6 Eastern, and then Golf Channel from 6 to 10 Eastern. So I think that's super cool that people can follow you. Of course, all of our listeners, and I know everybody at San Jose as well is very excited to watch you. Stephanie, we love to talk about drama and rivalries on this show. So I'm going to ask you, are there any rivalries in the game of the LPGA Tour?
I'm sure there's got to be a few out there, right? I don't know. I feel like you don't hear as much of it, I guess, within the LPGA. There's obviously going to be a couple people that are highlighted more, especially with the year Nelly's having, Rose Zhang. There's just so much good golf out here.
Yeah, I do want to mention, because when we're talking about rivalries and some of in the golf world, I just switching over to the men's golf, because this last weekend we had quite an interesting situation with Rory unfortunately kind of falling apart towards the end, and Bryson DeChambeau, who a lot of people kind of had this not a little bit of a dislike towards for a long time, but ended up winning, and it seems like that's kind of flipped a lot of people's opinions on that. What were your thoughts on this last weekend when it came to that final day?
Yeah, I think Bryson is just such an interesting person, right? The way that he approaches the game with his equipment and the technical details that he is so into. He's got his quad out there every single shot. He's looking at the numbers, and then he goes to Liv, and there's the back and forth of PGA Tour versus Liv. You've got different thoughts on that, and then Rory has kind of been the household name for so long, and everybody's wanting him to get that win again. And then Bryson signing autographs, and he's getting the crowd riled up at the PGA, and then it's hard to watch Rory kind of fall apart like that, but Bryson put on a great show. He was engaged with the crowds, and he played really well, so you've got to give it to him there. And then he stayed and signed autographs for however long he was there. So it's good to see that he got it done, but he also, I thought he was really gracious about it as well.
Okay, so Stephanie, I'm not sure if you've ever played Pinehurst number 2. I've never been up there personally, but a fellow pro golfer like yourself and Matt Every was on the drill yesterday, and he gave his perspective, and I'm curious to get yours before we let you go on the All-Pro Roofing Hotline. The 2.5-foot putt that Rory missed on 16, the 4-foot putt he missed on 18. Were they gimme putts in your estimation?
Normally, yes, but at the U.S. Open, no. The greens are fast. They've got a lot of undulation in them, and you can't take anything for granted, especially at a major.
Absolutely. Well, enjoy Sammamish, and I know it's right next to Lake Sammamish, so I hope you get to experience all the wonderful things up there in Washington.
Yeah, we're going to explore a little bit today. So got a good practice session in this morning, and looking forward to getting going.
Sounds good. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and we will be following along. Stephanie, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us today.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Good luck to Stephanie. And again, like Lauren mentioned, you will be able to watch the Women's PGA Championship on Peacock later this week. And again,
and Golf Channel.
On Golf Channel as well.
Peacock 4 to 6, Golf Channel 6 to 10. So Thursday night when you have nothing to watch because the NBA Finals are over, tune into the LPGA Tour and the Women's PGA Championship.
I love it. And, of course, we will be rooting for Stephanie again, who is a teaching instructor at San Jose Country Club, went to UCF, from Fleming Island, formerly an assistant at UNF. And so many tentacles into our world here in Northeast Florida, and it is her 6th start at a PGA Championship.
Imagine balancing that, too, being a teacher and then also just like, oh, by the way, I also play on the LPGA. I, have enough problems balancing this and, a social life.
Which it's hard to, I think do everything, but people like Stephanie, she's so calm when we get to talk to her, and so it's that's how she does it. Yeah. She just stays calm, keeps calm. I saw on her Instagram she has 2 labs too, Labrador retrievers, so I'm sure they also help her keep calm. But wishing her absolutely the best of luck, and it'll be fun to follow. By the way, Sammamish was voted the best small town in the United States 2 years in a row.
I thought you were going to say it has the best
sandwiches.
Sandwich.
Yes. That's what it made me think. My mom, every time growing up, called them sandwiches. And so that's all I could think about. I kept giggling every time you could say the word.
All right, Taylor's got a tangent when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
After consulting with several orthopedic specialists about my constant knee pain, I chose Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and Dr. Chris Swanson to handle my surgery. Their professionalism let me know this team was the one for me. The surgery was very successful, and if I ever have a future need, I'll continue to trust Southeast Orthopedic Specialists to take care of me.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited.
and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 18, 2000, at the 100th U.S. Open, Tiger Woods wins his first U.S. Open by a major championship record-setting 15 strokes over Ernie Els.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Take advantage of 0% APR on the versatile lineup of 2024 Mazda crossover SUVs. Lauren Brooks here. Choose from the off-road ready 2024 Mazda CX-50, the stylish 2024 Mazda CX-30, or the tailored for you Mazda CX-5. With 0% APR for 36 months, you'll find your perfect CUV. The professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interests first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at hodgesmazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires July 1st, 2024.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this fine Tuesday afternoon. Speaking of Taylor Dahl, she's got a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
All right, I'm going to complain a little bit today.
Go for it.
The New York Times, well, The Athletic, posted this article, and it's the winners and losers of this offseason. I'm just going to scroll down to the losers because that's where they put the Jags in this column.
Boo!
Yeah. And so this is what they said. The losers, by the way, are the Bills, which I feel like other people would also say because they lost Diggs and Gabe Davis and Mitch Morse and Ryan Bates and didn't really
and Poyer
yeah,
and
a ton of
a certain Iowa Hawkeye in the secondary as well. But yes, continue. Micah Hyde, yes.
Also Carolina Panthers, who other people would probably say, yeah, we get that too. The Dallas Cowboys, other people would probably say, yeah, we get that too because they literally, I think, signed one person in free agency. But then the Jaguars are on this list. And this is what comes to my tangent for today, which is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. This is what they said. Locking up Trevor Lawrence for a long term is a win, but losing Calvin Ridley to AFC South rival Tennessee will hurt. Gabe Davis is a downgrade at wide receiver. Free agent signings of Eric Armstead on defense and Mitch Morse on offense strengthens the trenches, but after getting leapfrogged last season by a rising Texans team, the Jaguars still look like a second-place AFC South squad. So multiple things that I'm going to speak on right now. Number one, I'm not sure how you can talk about what another team did in the division as account for you being a loser, because to me, if you're counting on that team being a loser, it's because you didn't do anything, but you just said locking Trevor Lawrence up was a win and Eric Armstead and Mitch Morse are wins. So to me, you just fixed your trenches, you locked down your franchise quarterback, and side note, I don't think Gabe Davis, honestly, is a downgrade from Calvin Ridley, and this is where I'm going to go on my little tangent here about what Gabe Davis has done in 2020 to 2023. 163 receptions Gabe Davis has in that time period in those 4 years. 78.9 first down rate, first in the NFL during that time. 17.8 touchdown rate, first in the NFL during that time. 16.7 yards per reception, top 5 in all 4 years in the NFL during that time. 45.4 explosive rate, which is 15 plus yards, first in the NFL during that time. 33 touchdowns on 336 targets, 10th in the NFL, and players 1 through 9 all had average 612 targets, so almost double what Gabe Davis did during the time he was in Buffalo. 15.8 target rate he had, which was 47th in the NFL. So not being able to be targeted, because obviously we know the deal with Stephon Diggs and what was going on in Buffalo. But let's also talk about how Gabe Davis accounted for 14 league easy targets, they call it, last season for the Bills, which means they're open targets in the end zone. The next behind that was Stephon Diggs with 12, but the next closest to those two, Gabe Davis had 14, was 3, and it was all tight ends for the most open red zone targets in the league. So weird to me that they want to say that's a downgrade, and we've talked about how they're different receivers. We know Calvin Ridley and Gabe Davis are different receivers. So to me, to say it's a downgrade is odd. In addition, I feel like they're just completely leaving out the fact that Calvin had no idea where he was half the time last year. And also dropped 6 balls, by the way. That's according to one of the stats. To me, I would say it was probably more like 9-10 if you go back and watch some of the games that they didn't account for drops on Calvin, when to me it should have been.
Yeah, we talked about Gabe Davis at length yesterday, and I think for good reason that we have high expectations for him. And yes, we had high expectations for Calvin Ridley this time last year, but those didn't pan out. And so while people just see on paper the stats maybe that Calvin Ridley had, like you said, they don't understand everything that went on behind the scenes. And so you've got a young quarterback in Will Levis trying to figure it out with a guy that maybe is not always running the right route. Yeah, good luck with that. But I think also, Mia, when he says, or I don't know who wrote the article for The Athletic, but when they said that the Texans leapfrogged the Jaguars, like last I checked, Jags went 1-1 with the Texans. And so it also came down to the very last game of the season for the Texans, the Colts, and the Jags to all potentially make the playoffs.
And the last I checked, the big acquisitions for the Houston Texans this offseason are essentially all on 1 to 2 year deals. You have Stephon Diggs, where they've basically thrown the contract out. It's a 1-year rental. Joe Mixon, 1-year rental. Danielle Hunter, a very team-friendly, very player-friendly with a lot of guaranteed money, 2-year deal for the Katy, Texas native to go home. great job getting guys who are quote-unquote in their prime right now for while they're in their prime and not necessarily having to deal with dead money on the back end if you were to say goodbye to them. But it's a risk because I'm not sure that that's the best way to build your team when you look at the draft returns from the Houston Texans and the draft grades that sure many of these same pundits gave the Texans, which was a failing grade because Kamari Lassiter may only be a nickel corner. I'm sorry, Georgia fans. You can argue with me on the text line, 641-1010. The rest of their draft picks, a backup tackle in the second round, depth pieces otherwise, guys who by many accounts are not considered to be eventual NFL starters. I'm not so sure that is all that different than what the Jaguars did in the 2023 NFL draft after they won the division in 2022 because we're good. We're banking on our guys, development. We bring in a couple little pieces here and there, and they're going to help and take us over the edge. But will they get you to that next level? And I understand a big part of this is that you're not trying to be paying Danielle Hunter big-time money in 4 or 5 years from now because you're going to have to be paying C.J. Stroud big-time money then, so long as his trajectory continues. But I just don't think in terms of team building that we can just say, oh, yeah, like they're set for the long term solely because they have the quarterback, which I understand this is the NFL. As long as you have the quarterback, it doesn't matter. But in terms of, hey, these are the pieces that we've plugged and played around him, I mean, is that enough? I don't think it's that different than what the Jaguars did.
They also didn't mention in the article that the Jaguars could have gotten a starting corner in Ronald Darby, a starting safety in Darnell Savage, and we'll see, or a starting nickel, I should say, or safety in Darnell Savage, but more likely nickel. And then, of course, when it comes to the return game, how important that's going to be with Devin Duvernay. And so if you don't really know exactly what the Jaguars did, then leave them off your list of losers or call us here and we'll debate it with you. Who was the author of the article?
I just exited. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. We'll look it up.
I mentioned if you want to argue about the Texans draft and the Texans acquisition, 641-1010. We only have one person arguing, so we'll get to that in just a second. I want to give a shout-out, though, because the first text was from our friend DJ Dell, who wanted to make sure that we note that the...
Oh, by the way, it's who? Mike Jones.
Oh, okay. It's the 1010XL Weekly, the newsletter, drops tomorrow. We'll see, is the Texans stock up? Is the Texans stock down? The Jaguars stock up? The Jaguars stock down? That's just one of the many features that you can get by subscribing to the 1010XL Weekly newsletter, which will be in your inbox every Wednesday morning at 10:10 a.m. from henceforth. The link to sign up for the newsletter is available on our website, on our X, our Instagram, our Facebook. If you need it, I can send it to you at 641-1010 as well.
And also on Wednesday, we will be live at the Jumbo Shrimp game. First pitch 12:05. It will be 1010XL Day, and you can make your case as to why you should be the one to throw out the first pitch by posting a video hashtag 1010Shrimp Day on X, Facebook, or Instagram. We've got our highlights when we return on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Caesar is pleased to bring you the only undefeated champion in Roman history, the legendary
1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to mybookie.ag and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin, just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action is in your hands. And yes, the rumors are true. You don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Let's go! Another night of excitement and fun with your Jacksonville Sharks is here. Join us this Saturday, June 22nd in the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena for some exciting football action as we battle the Massachusetts Pirates. Check out our awesome family packs. You get 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. And it's Star Wars night.
The first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a free lightsaber. Are you with the Rebels?
Red 5, I'm going in.
Are the Stormtroopers? Get photos with your favorite characters. Hang out with a game for our autograph session and player jersey auction.
Let's go!
Don't miss the fun and excitement of Sharks football and Star Wars Night this Saturday, June 22nd at 7. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com.
Let's go!
Hey there, all you fun-loving sports maniacs, a.k.a. taco lovers. Don here from Taco Lou. I'm quite proud to say that we have the best staff in all of Duval.
Don't you mean Louval?
Say hello to Lizzie.
Hello, Jacksonville.
I suppose I do mean Louval. Say, Liz, what's your favorite cocktail to make?
The double barrel margarita. It's Herradura, tequila reposado, orange liqueur, orange juice, and our homemade sour mix. We call it Lou Brew. Give it a good shake and serve.
Well, thanks, Lizzie.
Come in and hang with me at the bar. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Do you have clicking, popping, swelling, or pain in your knee or shoulder? This can be due to arthritic changes in your joints. Over time, you have wear and tear of your cartilage. I am Dr. George Bari, and here at Bari Orthopedics, we have numerous ways to treat your arthritis, such as regenerative medicine, including PRP and joint replacements with CT guidance for accuracy down to the millimeter. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, call us for an appointment today, or log on to BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars, WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach, WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Exciting news from All Pro Roofing. Effective right now, you can get an instant roof quote. Just click the Instant Roof Quote tab on their website. Whether you're in need of roofing, exterior siding, or windows, All Pro Roofing is your local partner for quality craftsmanship. Click the Instant Roof tab and voila! Get an instant quote. It's that simple. Click on the Instant Roof Quote tab today at allproroofingllc.com.
License number CCC 1327056.
CDC 060138. Kicking here with Zero Res. If you're like me, you like to sit on the sofa and recliners and watch a good game or show. You know, unwind down from the day. But sometimes TV time means food, drink, and a mess as well. That's why you need to have the Zero Res truck out and get that furniture looking great again. All of June, Zero Res offering 25% off all upholstery cleaning, 25% off a sectional, off a sofa, 25% off a love seat, and 25% off your favorite recliner. Zero Res, man, you spell it forward, you spell it backwards. Zero Res, it's the right way to clean.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Florida Gators season remains alive as the Gators beat NC State yesterday afternoon 5-4 in an elimination game at the College World Series. Jack Caglione and Tyler Shelnut both homered for the Gators, with Brandon Neely earning his 5th save of the season by pitching 3 scoreless innings. The last play of the game.
Here's the wind and the Osu pitch. Little lazy fly out to left. Shelnut's got a beat on it. He's got it. And the Gators are going to keep playing here in the College World Series. Brandon Neely was special once again, and this time the one-run game goes to the Gators' favor as they win it 5-4 over NC State and get their 35th win of the season.
The Gators will now take on Kentucky tonight with first pitch at 7 o'clock. Listen live to the game on 1010 a.m. It's 88 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Thanks for hanging out with us on this Tuesday afternoon. Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. And Taylor, we have lunch for two during Lunch with the Ladies, correct? From Chick-fil-A?
We do. Lunch for two Chick-fil-A. We have a couple gift cards right now for, let's say, caller number 3.
All right, caller number 3, 641-1010, and you will get that lunch for two from Chick-fil-A. Looking forward to that, I'm sure, is the winner. All right, let's get it to our Heels highlights now. Take it away, RJ.
Now, Heels highlights.
Unbelievable!
On 1010XL.
Somebody wrote a clip.
Shota Imanaga on his mindset in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, I was pretty hungry, so I was thinking about what kind of food and nutrition I should take after the game. This is my honest thoughts.
Jack Cagley owns 2-run home run, puts the Gators up 4-1 over the Wolfpack in Omaha.
This is clubbed. Right field on a line. Gone! Caglione with a rocket.
Everyone wants to talk about Angel Reese, but Caitlin Clark stuffed the stat sheet and sent Marina Mabrey to the Shadow Realm in the Fever's win over the Sky.
She's needed a game like this her last 4, shooting 29% from 3, gets blocked by Clark. Clark's got 14 blocks in her WNBA career, and it ends with a Boston bucket.
And Rox is in the house like Mike Shohei clip. Taylor, since we just gave away Chick-fil-A.
Yes, yeah, he was hungry on the mound. The Cubs are just miserable right now. I said this last week, but it's just so bad. But he is just this like shining light on the Cubs right now because number one, he's fantastic on the mound, but also he's just so fun. And I mentioned the one clip. I played another one of him before, and I talked about how he made the joke about his first time in New York and how he is like, oh, I recognized it from the Spider-Man movies. And so on this one, they were asking him like, what were your thoughts? Because the Cubs were up like 2 runs. It was the bottom of the 7th. 2 outs, and they were like, what was in your mind, like, in the bottom of the 7th? He was like, honestly, I was just kind of hungry. I was thinking about
It's true, though. Like, so often, like, this, and we discussed yesterday with Taylor's Tangent, the in-game interviews that have become so prevalent in sports, whether that's fun ones with Snoop Dogg, or whether that is we're in the dugout in the middle of a heated moment, or we're in between quarters of the NBA Finals, and we're going to pull somebody off from the bench and be asking questions, which I just don't understand, because if you're a competitor and you're in the heat of the moment, how do you say, like, okay, now you need to, like, take a quick break and talk to the reporter?
Joke around a little bit.
Like, what are you thinking about right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably trying to win the game, or Chick-fil-A. Like, you know, like, what else am I thinking about?
Well, and that's what, so there was a few other ones that have stood out that I just had to mention because I love him so much. But, so another thing, they said, what is your favorite thing about America so far? And he said that he can turn right on red lights.
Love
and
that.
Oh, yeah.
Love that.
Not
Love
all
that.
red lights, by the way. Can you turn right? Just
if
for
it says do
those
not
bad
turn
drivers
on red.
out there, yeah, there's a light right out
That
here.
bothers
You
me,
cannot
by the way.
turn right.
That may be a tangent one day because people have honked at me and I'm like pointing to the sign. I'm like, it says no turn on red. Stop honking at me. And so he made the comment about the Spider-Man in New York. He also, so he went to a Blackhawks game when he first got to Chicago. And so the Blackhawks goal horn and music is the Chelsea Dagger, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So that's his walk-up song now because he was like, I had so much fun listening to that song. I made it my walk-up song. And then another one that stood out, he said that one of his, I guess his first appearance at Wrigley, like no one really knew who he was, so it wasn't as like loud and crazy, but then he had such a first outing that his next one, fans like went crazy over him. So he said that he was having issues waking up in the morning, so he changed his alarm sound to fans cheering at Wrigley, and that's what wakes him up every day.
That's so cute.
I know.
And then, Mia, we're going to get to the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark discussion in our next segment, but you had a funny intro, something about a shadow?
Oh, no, just Marina Mabrey, a fellow Monmouth County, New Jersey product, got sent to the Shadow Realm by a block by Caitlin Clark, who, again, you heard Lisa Byington say, 19 blocks in her young NBA career, just 15 games in. Which is not something she was known for at the college level. And it is a credit to Christy Sides and the Fever staff because they have really tried to hone in on Caitlin's defense. And it is incredible because as Debbie Antonelli, the color analyst and, of course, national analyst for college basketball, but also for the WNBA, but she's the color analyst for the Fever, she's noted, I mean, let's be real, like Caitlin's 6 foot, 150 pounds soaking wet, and she's out here blocking women who have a size advantage on her, let alone years and years in a WNBA weight room. And so
she's only 150 pounds?
Yes.
That seems crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's
And she's what?
6
foot.
feet. So that probably means in the off season she might want to
Yeah,
lift, and
bulk up a
we've
little.
detailed,
Well,
that
we're seeing her flying all over the court right now. So.
right. Well, and there's no time in between women's
Yeah.
college basketball ending and the WNBA starting. But once she has a true off season, I wonder if we do see her bulk up a little bit.
It's something that a lot of analysts have noted, trying to finish in traffic, developing a floater in the mid-range game. Like that's the next step for her, to the point that I know it upsets many Iowa and college basketball fans, because you'll see during pregame warmups that's what Christy Sides has her focusing on, is like shots that a center or a forward or someone in the front court primarily would be focusing on, whether that's a 7-foot floater or just like shooting little like layups of sorts from about 8 feet out. And it frustrates fans because they just want to see her shoot the three. But the truth is, for her to be a crafty point guard, she has to develop in the weight room, because if she can't actually navigate through traffic and get past these women who, again, have been in the weight room and physically are just so much stronger than her, that's where it's going to be tough, even if she can shoot the three from lights out.
Yeah, I mean, your bottom half pretty much has to be to the point where if someone's 180 pounds that is defending you, is guarding you, like you have to be able to box them out or move them, that kind of thing.
And by the way, this is not something that we haven't seen in the NBA as well. You can talk about some of the stars we saw last night in the NBA Finals, whether that's Luka Doncic, although I think him adding on weight and muscle may not have been for the best. Story for another time. Jason Tatum arrived from Duke, as yes, he had certainly been in a Duke weight room, and he had muscle, but he did not have the amount of arm and leg strength that he does today. You can make the same argument for Jaylen Brown coming out of Cal. And so, look, this isn't anything out of the ordinary that we don't see with athletes across the board.
Yeah, RJ and I went down a rabbit hole one day of he was like, look up this player, when they came into the NBA.
Look at
versus
Giannis.
Now. Yes. Oh, Giannis was one of the first ones we looked at. But speaking of, did you see hear, I guess, on the call last night when it was the PJ Washington foul on Porzingis?
Yeah.
And they said that if that were Caitlin Clark, it might spark a debate for a week.
Well, it was funny because before they even said it, as it was happening, I said to Kevin, I was like, oh, damn, that was quite the collision there. Okay, PJ. And he's like, that was a flop. And I was like, I don't know. I'm just conditioned to look at these collisions a little differently, I suppose.
We haven't figured out what the loser's going to do, but I just started to put something together. Mia's wearing a Celtics hat. RJ lost. RJ hates the Celtics.
Oh.
We might have to make you wear the Celtics hat for a show, RJ. Would you be willing to do that? Silence.
That'll teach you to not. That'll teach you to get your anybody but Scheffler picks.
That means
correct.
if I lose, I'd have to wear either Florida State or Georgia.
No, hell no, Lauren. We're making you wear Iowa. Come on now.
Iowa. I don't hate Iowa.
I would definitely.
You obviously have already worn Packers stuff.
Yeah, it was the worst day of my life.
I like this though. I like this being with the loser. We don't have to buy lunch, but the loser of our anybody but Scheffler picks has to wear their least favorite team's colors. I like that.
Someone's going to have to bring it in because obviously
I have a
own
Celtics shirt.
I own no Florida State or Georgia apparel.
So
I can find some for you.
Since I referenced, and I do have a Celtics shirt, by the way, and
Perfect.
RJ, it is your size. Since Lauren asked, why do I have a Celtics hat on?
Yeah.
Let's bring this full circle to the topic that we led off the show with, is the pain part of the path, in the words of Brad Stevens. That was a transformational season not only for the Boston Celtics back in 2018 when they made that Cinderella run to the Eastern Conference Finals, but like I said, my friend group, you guys know my good friend John Alba, of course, of SNY. He was working in Maine at the time, so he got the chance to cover that Celtics team, got to cover the Patriots Super Bowl run that year as well. And so between visiting him as well as some of my other friends in Boston, I was trying to arrange, a time and a place, and I ended up doing a little 2-week gauntlet, which happened to coincide with that postseason run by Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the Boston Celtics. So I was there for Game 2 of the second round of the playoffs against Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. And it was funny because I had gone to Fenway Park 2 days earlier with my college roommate and refused to wear anything Red Sox, anything red. I was solely there as a baseball fan, as a baseball historian. I did cry because it's beautiful. But she was like, dude, just put a Red Sox hat. I was like, no, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Then my big gets tickets, courtesy of her father, Joe Regan. Go Joe. And he gets us, these, really nice tickets to the Boston Celtics playoff game. And that morning, I'm like, well, we got to go to the store. I got to get outfitted in Celtics stuff. And my college roommate's like, are you kidding me? Like, you wouldn't wear anything Red Sox. But the moment you get Celtics tickets, you're like, oh, I got to wear it. But it's different because it's Irish pride and because I found
you're a Yankees fan.
I am a Yankees fan, correct. And
no Yankees fan should wear anything.
The Nets
Red
broke
Sox
the
ever.
Nets broke my heart when they moved to Brooklyn, so I really don't have an affinity for them or the Knicks. And so I think that's. But again, I philosophically appreciate what Brad Stevens and the entire Celtics organization has been able to do over the better part of the last decade. And additionally, at the time, I was still in Iowa. I was, my second year there, or third year, whatever year it was. I had just covered Tyler Cook, who is kind of floating around the NBA right now, but he and Jason Tatum went to elementary, middle, and high school together and are still very close. And so I got an interesting perspective over that year and a half of Jason Tatum because we had Tyler Cook explaining to us things that he did in high school to prepare him for this stage. He was still corresponding with him while they both were in college. And so that's why I have the Celtics hat. But I did get, because I went to that Celtics playoff game, and you know how they leave the shirts out for everybody? I do have a shirt, RJ, that will fit you from that game. So don't worry, baby. Tomorrow, mark your calendars, folks. Watch on the MyBookie Digital Studio.
I'm sorry,
We will have
RJ.
photos.
I'm so sorry, but I'm already envisioning me having to wear something I hate and Taylor having to wear something
Dan
she hates.
still posts that stupid picture.
Correct, yeah.
I had to report it.
And we already had a Healigan text in, 18 is greater than 17, RJ.
Oh, ouch. And then the final highlight from our highlights package, as always, great job, RJ, putting that together, was Mike Monaco on the call with Chris Burke and Ben McDonald from yesterday as Jack Caglione hit the 2-run home run that gave the Gators a 4-1 lead. They were tied at that point in time in the top of the second. And so obviously it was a bomb because the wind was blowing in, as I just told y'all on the program yesterday.
It might have gone 700 feet.
And so it literally might have left the stadium. And the commentators were saying how you never see a ball hit that high when the wind is blowing in. And NC State, Alec Makarevich, he hit a home run as well later on, but it didn't go nearly as far as Cags. Cags pitching,
that
though.
was a record for Florida, right?
He's tied now with Matt Laporta. Okay. Yeah, he's tied. And the pitching, though, for Cags, not so good. But I do wonder if Kevin O'Sullivan is having him pitch because I think it's the last 4 games, every time he starts as a pitcher, he's homered. So it's almost like Sully knows, like, he doesn't have it. But I just needed to get him through like the first inning because I want him to hit a bomb, and then it happens.
And I wonder if that, honestly, for Cags, he comes in and he's frustrated because his pitching isn't well.
Right.
So he's like, well, now I've got to
I'm going to take it out on this baseball. You got that right. Jacob Rudner, who does a great job covering Florida, as well as Nick De La Torre. But Jacob tweeted this out. Cags has hit 74 home runs in his career and 67 over the last 2 years because, of course, as a freshman, he didn't play that much due to injury. Here's the mind-blowing stat. He's hitting .5 homers per game over the last 2 seasons, so that's pacing for 81 in an 162-game season, which we know that wouldn't actually happen, but that's still insane. For all you FSU fans, from what I saw on Twitter, FSU senior lefty Andrew Armstrong will get the start today against North Carolina. First pitch, of course, at 2 o'clock, and for the Tar Heels, junior righty Aiden Haw will get the start, and then Kentucky and Florida go at it 7 p.m. first pitch. If you're wondering what happened earlier in the season, Florida lost 2 out of 3 in Gainesville to Kentucky. Both of those losses went to extra innings, so it was certainly back and forth affair. Other than the only game Florida did win in the series, Florida won 10-1.
Yeah.
So a little bit wild there. And then tomorrow, Tennessee awaits the winner of North Carolina FSU. That game will be at 2 p.m. And then Texas A&M tomorrow night awaits the winner of Kentucky, Florida.
Ooh, I did see. Did you see the video in the dugout when they took Cags out after the rough start from the pitching?
He was massaging his arm,
and someone was tweeting about how his velo has like dropped drastically the last few games. So do you think something's wrong with his arm?
I wouldn't have thought that other than when they showed him rubbing his arm yesterday, his left arm, but I haven't seen him do that before, so I don't know if it's something new, but he didn't do that in the game that he pitched against Clemson last Sunday. And he also had the lower velo then, too. Yeah. So I'm not sure if that is something that just popped up or if it's just some overuse at this point in time, even though other pitchers like Brandon Neely, who I tweeted out is a true Gator hero, because when Florida needs him, he is just so incredibly good. He wanted to be a starter, started the season as a starter, eventually went to Kevin O'Sullivan and the pitching staff and said, this is not my best role, put me back as a closer relief. And so yesterday, I should say, He had 3 innings, and he allowed just 1 hit and had 6 strikeouts. And, of course, that's how Florida was able to beat NC State 5-4. Another, by the way, when you talk about when you're a fan of a team and every pitch matters so much, another game where you are just on complete edge the entire game. Even when it was 4-1, you knew NC State was going to come back.
Well, complete edge, but Lauren had to be in her lucky seat. It was funny as we take you guys behind the curtain as we're leaving the show to hand off to primetime. Taylor goes, "Are you going home?" And Lauren's like, "Yes, have to be in my lucky seat." And like
With
sprints,
my lucky bracelet.
sprints
Yes.
out of the studio.
I have been wearing my lucky bracelets. They are 2 orange and blue ones and then a white one that spells out Gators. So if you need me at 7 o'clock tonight, you'll know where to find me. I will be in my lucky seat. All right, when we come back, we will get it to some drama in the WNBA. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers, giving Jaguars fans what you need to stay on top of your team every day. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
I've got 2 words for you. Incredible inventory. Where is this incredible inventory, you may ask? At the one and only Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Why Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned? So many questions, but thankfully I have your answer. How about over 600 vehicles in stock, one location? That's over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 110 pickups, over 30 Jeeps, over 50 luxury vehicles on the ground in stock at one location. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under 18K. Plus, Arlington's 30-day exchange program is now double. That's 60 days to decide if you love your purchase or come on back and exchange it for one that you do. Worried about financing? Don't be. Arlington's Credit for Everyone program is here to help you get financed. You even get a complimentary car wash with every scheduled service. Shop Arlington Pre-Owned in person today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
Is your old AC trying to keep up with the Florida heat?
At JTM Comfort Services, they understand the importance of a reliable AC system. That's why they offer financing on qualified repairs and replacements. Don't suffer through another scorching summer. Upgrade now to a new, energy-efficient system. Visit jtmcooling.com to learn more and schedule your consultation. Veteran and family-owned.
Your comfort is our name. Call my dad to keep you in the game.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll-and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us. But for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks. But I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners. Always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Calling all disc golf enthusiasts. Play It Again Sports Jacksonville wants your used discs. Now through June 29th, earn cash on the spot plus $5 in sports bucks for every $25 of disc golf gear we buy. Play It Again Sports also stocks new discs from your favorite brands like Innova, Discraft, Discmania, and more. Stop in today and shop our huge selection. Merrill Road near 295 in the Merrill Station Shopping Plaza or online at playitagainjacks.com.
Facing a DUI charge or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
Ever buy a gym membership but don't ever use it? Who hasn't? ET here, sports fans, and instead, I send plants and flowers to people I love from Kuhn Flowers, home of the beautiful window display on Beach Boulevard. Now that's money well spent. Kuhn Flowers.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dalmy, O'Brien, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. RJ is none too pleased with me at this moment.
He's not happy with you.
No, not happy in the least. RJ, I'm very sorry, but I just knew that we needed to come to a decision on what the loser needed to do.
No, actually, it's okay. Me, Steve and I talked about it. I'll be off tomorrow. So, good luck. Good luck.
Well, then
RJ,
we'll just leave the shirt waiting for you on Thursday.
It's going to be a pretty long vacay.
Before we put a bow on this NBA season and get ready, because draft time is coming, ladies, in the NBA. Next week's 2-day NBA draft. Yes, it's here and it's 2 days long. I'm curious.
That's way too long.
Host of yeah, it really is. And RJ, I know, has an opinion or two about that, as he explained on Open Gym over the weekend, and as we do get to speak with the host of Open Gym right here on 1010XL. RJ, you told me yesterday you didn't think the series was over, so let's put a bow on this NBA Finals, NBA season. Did you believe all along this was the Boston Celtics' year to lose?
I did not. I thought that Denver was honestly going to repeat at the trajectory that Philly was going and the way that Joel Embiid was playing. I thought maybe this would be their year. The New York Knicks became a team that almost felt like a team of destiny, but the clock struck 12 when they least needed it to. So this Boston Celtics team was the best team all year. I have to give that to them, and they walk out as eventual NBA champions as of yesterday. However, I don't feel the same way about that come next year. I just don't look at this team as potentially the next dynasty, and I think that's going to be something the NBA is going to be looking for here. They're going to be looking for another dynasty. Golden State is the last one in which we've had, but it's interesting for me, at least when it comes to this group. I'll quickly put it like this. Anthony Davis sat down when he was at a Lakers press conference and said he wanted his career to be akin to Tim Duncan, and I would like to assume that means winning.
And winning multiple championships.
I feel like he won the one in a bubble, whatever you'd like to call it.
Mickey Mouse
he won
tournament.
the one, and he sat down like Thanos and said, I did it. And I honestly believe he's saying, listen, I think I'm a surefire Hall of Famer. I'll go down as one of the great defensive players of my era, and I can waltz off into the sunset. What more do I need to do? I don't feel any difference between that and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and the rest of the crew. Are they a group that's going to say, listen, we did it. We brought a championship to the city. Do we need to do it again? Are they that hungry to win more? It'll definitely be an interesting case study come next year.
Yes, it certainly will.
My question for you, RJ, then is, as we talk about the NBA's need for a dynasty, do you believe the Celtics roster, I alluded to Jason Tatum, as reported by Woj, is going to be made the highest paid player in the NBA? Is that roster more sustainable to manage moving forward, or is it that Denver Nuggets core? Or is it one of these young up-and-coming squads in the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Timberwolves or the Dallas Mavericks?
It'll be interesting. Dallas, I think they need to put more pieces around Luka, and I think you really saw that in this NBA championship round. When you look at young teams such as Oklahoma City, they've needed to make a trade like yesterday. They've needed to bring in, another big name star. I think they're the best team in the NBA in terms of developing their young talent, but they're gonna eventually need a star, and you're not gonna persuade any person to come there via trade. I don't think SGA would have come to Oklahoma City if not for that trade that happened between the Clippers and the Thunders that included him and Paul George. It should be interesting. Does a guy like Kristaps Porzingis in a couple of years say, I think I can be the second best guy on a championship team? Does he try to do this again, or does he say, listen, I'm going to stay here until the wheels fall off? I think for the most part, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the whole argument of, these two guys can't play together, their skill sets mirror each other far too much, I think that's probably put to bed. However, does a guy like Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum say, I want to do this on my own?
Right.
Denver, this is going to be interesting with Denver because I feel like there are going to be a couple of role players on their teams that are going to, on other teams that are going to say, we're willing to pay you a lion's share that Denver won't. And if they lose a few of their key pieces this offseason, such as a Contavious Caldwell-Pope or others, that
Christian
team could
Braun, depends on the day of the week how we're saying his name.
It'll be a very interesting team. But at the same time, I don't know who wants to leave probably the most unselfish superstar we have in the NBA right now. So to answer your question, long story short, I really feel like this Boston Celtics team, I'll put my money on that they can keep their core four together the longest in terms of health. But these young rosters are coming, and these young rosters are only going to get better. We have a team in Central Florida that I feel is only going to get better too.
Ooh.
So, that Eastern Conference, it will get tougher, but teams in the East are going to definitely have to conjure up more talent. And I do believe that the Orlando Magic are in for a treat this offseason. I think Anthony Parker said it like this, we will make the right move when it's time to do it, and I think the time is no better than this offseason. So I'm putting my stock in the Orlando Magic taking the next step.
And speaking of RJ's stock, another great plug for the 1010XL Weekly, our new newsletter, which will debut on Wednesdays. And RJ is going to be providing some NBA coverage there and basketball coverage at large. So yet another reason to hit that subscribe button, put your email in. It takes 10 seconds, folks. If you need me to text you, the link on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure, 641-1010, or visit any of our social channels, and that is another way to get in on the conversation.
All right, switching from the NBA to the WNBA. I guess we'll start with Andrea Carter.
Yeah, we can start with Andrea Carter. Sorry, if you're watching the live stream, we've got engineer extraordinaire Richie here trying out our new cameras and looking at me, and I'm like, I got to talk about Andrea Carter and my ongoing feud with her, dude.
like,
So you got to hold on, Richie, man. We got to get to the WNBA here.
She said, I enjoy watching, this is on Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, I enjoy watching these two trying to have success in the W. But if we're being completely honest, their teams are having a mid-off right now. Their teams are just very mid. They're 8th and 9th in the WNBA standings.
I don't care. They're mid and everyone's talking about them. You should be happy, and they're talking about basketball. They are referring to the now over a year old rivalry that began in the 2023 national title game between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, which, oh, by the way, was played on the Mickey Mouse Network of Family, the ESPN network on ABC. So, with that said, I look at this conversation, and this is the conversation, Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, star versus star, characters. This is the discourse that WNBA analysts and WNBA fans and longtime reporters said they wanted a week ago when everything Caitlin Clark touched turned political. They wanted to talk about basketball. We are talking now about basketball. We are translating an ongoing storyline that captivated the nation over a year ago and translating it to the professional level, which has been the critique of the WNBA for most of its 27 years of existence. We come to enjoy these women's college basketball players, and we say we will follow them to the next level, and then we don't. Guess what? People are. Richard Deitch just reported the numbers, for The Athletic. That game on Sunday on CBS, national, called by Lisa Byington, had 3 million people watching the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky in a quote-unquote mid-off that turned into a heck of a game that never had a lead larger than 8 points throughout the duration of the game from start to finish.
Yeah, I think, and I get her point of if we are truly growing the game, the WNBA, then people need to start watching not just Angel and Caitlin. Like, at some point, when does it expand beyond them? And I say this because another quote she just had, I think it was yesterday, she said these two going at each other, talking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, in a basketball sense and trying to lead their team, it's what helped women's college basketball blow up. It's going to help, and that's going to help continue for the WNBA to blow up as well. So she's acknowledging the fact that they are a part of what's getting it popular, but she's like, when are we going to start talking about the teams who are good as much as we're talking about Angel and Caitlin?
It's never going to be enough. It is never going to be enough. And look, I've now listened to multiple podcasts about the coverage.
Ask anybody in this city who Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese are.
In Jacksonville,
the majority
Florida.
of people will probably be able to answer you. Tell them who the two best WNBA teams are. They will probably not be able to answer you.
Right. And guess what? That's the nature of a league that most of the general population doesn't watch. You could argue the same thing, quite honestly, and this is because it's probably the least followed of the 4 major sports in the NHL. If you were to ask somebody randomly in the city of Jacksonville, which has a great ECHL team in the Jacksonville Icemen, but if you were to ask someone on the street, hey, who were the top 2 teams in the NHL this year? Good chance that even a diehard sports fan, unless they are invested in hockey, they don't know that. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If you were to say to them, hey, can you name me 2 or 3 great hockey players, they probably could name that for you. And that's, again, that gateway to the sport. And guess what? That's where you are right now, WNBA. Mm-hmm. You're at the gate. They're coming through the gate right now. So why are you trying to shut the door? Enjoy the fact that people want to talk about it. They want to learn more. And just because they don't know that right now, that is okay.
And I think it's just more so like, when is it going to happen? But however many games, I don't even know how many, 19 games into this right now with Caitlin and Angel. But and I think that for some of these women, they just want so badly because they're like, yes, we finally have this opportunity where these 2 women are getting people to talk about the sport. That's great. That's fantastic. She just acknowledged that it's making things better. But it is levels. It's levels of how much are we going to pay attention. And Lauren and I talked about this a lot when we were talking about during March Madness, during the Madness time. And we were like, how long will it last? Is this going to be like a years and years of thing? Is this really the beginning of something? Or is it just because it's cool and new and we just talked about Caitlin and Angel the last 2 seasons in college basketball and March Madness, and so now we're talking about them now? Is it going to fizzle out? Is it going to continue? For it to continue, we have to also start knowing about the rest of the teams in the league.
Right, because you can't just be a fan of one person, even though I know plenty of people who are LeBron fans.
Yeah, you can be.
Plenty of people who are.
You get to do whatever you want to do.
Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence. Exactly. That's the thing, Lauren. We have the power to choose as sports fans. The truth of the matter, and I forget who said this on, I think it might have been Monica McNutt, but I forget who said it on ESPN earlier this week. The truth of the matter is that for so long, the WNBA, their fans, the reporters, the media surrounding it have viewed the WNBA as this cool indie rock band. This indie rock band that they have this vested ownership in, and it's cool and it's niche and it's their thing. And now that indie rock band just had a crossover classic that is #1 in the pop charts. And they don't know what to do about it because everybody else wants to claim their rock band now, and they want to say we were here first. And look, you could say I'm speaking in generalities all you want, but it's just the way where we are right now.
Yeah.
And that's what it's coming off as. And I'm not going to critique these women and men and say to them, oh, you need to be nicer. Look, I'm a woman in sports. I have been told how to act for far too long, for 31 years. So, I'm not going to tell them how to act, but what I am going to tell them is the pain is part of the path.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to have this national discourse, the fact that you have to have fans who maybe don't know that the Aces are back-to-back defending champions and trying to do something that no one has done in the league since the Houston Comets in the 1990s and win 3 straight titles. Like, unfortunately, you are going to have to welcome those fans who don't know that yet in order to get to where you ultimately want to be.
Yeah, and in the same breath, though, we do the same thing for other sports. We call out teams that are mid. We call out players that are mid. We criticize those players. So we can't complain about these women doing that when we do the exact same thing for the NFL every week. That's getting us to talk about it right now.
Right.
So let her go. I forget her name.
Andrea
Carter.
Carter. Go on about how these mid teams, because we do the same exact thing every Sunday of why did this Thursday night football game suck so bad?
Why are we still watching the Thursday night game that was like, it was like the Panthers and the Commanders or something like that. The two teams that picked first we're watching that. Mike Trout.
It was in Washington. That score was like 9-3 or something like that, and it was terrible. And everyone was like, "Why are we being forced to watch this primetime football game?" And
everyone's still watching it. Everyone's still watching it. Just like Mike Trout is arguably the best baseball player in the last 25 years and has played on a quote-unquote mid-team forever, and people are still watching him.
To me, there's nothing wrong with the conversation surrounding women's basketball as far as if people do want to only watch Caitlin Clark. Like, that, if that's what makes you happiest, to watch someone who you watched in college set all these records, broke Pete Maravich's record, and that's the only person you want to watch, and you're only going to turn it on when she's on, by all means, that's fine. But that's the exact reason, and that vocal minority, maybe majority, I don't even know, but that group of people is exactly what's infuriating the Andrea Carters and the women who have played the sport for so long, because they're saying, please pay attention to us too. Like, no one has ever heard of, maybe outside of Sun fans, the team Sun.
Yeah.
No one has ever heard of Dewana Bonner. Ever. In the history of sports. No one's ever heard that
and even
woman's
me,
name.
I only know
but
her
against the Fever,
right.
she had 24 points. She led the Sun in points that game.
And diehard fans of teams also mock people who do have that like the people that are like, I'm a LeBron fan, I'm not an NBA fan. I don't have a team, I just like LeBron. I just like Tom Brady. Wherever Tom Brady would play, I would have cheered for him. We also had so many moments during life where we're like, that's lame. Like, you have to love your team, like, love a team, but we are people who love teams, so it does make it a little different. Not saying it's wrong, but they get the same criticism in other sports as Caitlin and Angel, whatever they're getting right now.
Yeah, some people are Yankees fans, not because they grew up a Yankees fan, because
Yankees,
when they started
Lakers.
when they started
The
paying
Yankees
attention
were
to
winning.
sports,
Yeah.
the Yankees were winning, and people say, I want to join a winning team as a fan. That's perfectly fine.
Right.
You may not have necessarily the same pain that a lot of us go through with our teams, but if that's what makes the sports dollar go round, by the way.
And here's, as we put a bow on this, here is my current stance when it comes to the WNBA, the coverage, where we're at. Like I said, we are in a much better place in terms of discourse than we were 1 week ago, by far and large. There are certainly some political outlets that are still hijacking this story and trying to twist it in any sort of way. Put that off to the side. TMZ, right on cue, tweets out, Angel Reese clubs Caitlin Clark in the head, charged with a flagrant foul. I believe that Angel Reese, because that was, of course, this is what we're discussing, the mid-off, quote-unquote. That was a basketball play, and as far as Angel goes, it warms my heart. It actually warms my heart that after that game, I got a text from Graham Marsh Spielberg, who watched the game and said to me, my God, she is Draymond Green. She wants to be the villain. And even though it was a basketball play, it was and they called it a flagrant foul. It wasn't like the Kennedy Carter play. And Caitlin said we're competitive. It's basketball. Again, we're talking about basketball, so I don't want to hear the critique about, we're not talking about, we are literally talking about the game.
Yeah.
But Angel Reese understands why we have multiple texts right now on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. She understands
She
why
said
we are
that.
talking about this in Jacksonville, Florida, because she's a character. Caitlin's a character. That's how you're going to grow the game. I know we want to keep it wholesome and following all the teams. That is not the gateway drug. The gateway drug is characters, and Angel is one, and she's embracing it. And as Taylor can attest to, with all of your Chicago coverage
Chicago
and having
loves her right now.
fans there, they're selling out the arena there at the United Center because they have Camila Cardoso and they have Angel Reese, not because, sorry, Kennedy Carter, Dylan Brooks with a uterus. It's not because of you. It's because they had 2 of the top 10 picks of the WNBA draft who also both were college basketball champions.
The swimming trials were also in Indianapolis over the weekend, so over 20,000 people there to watch Katie Ledecky and amongst others. Quick weather update, and this is not necessarily good when it comes to Omaha and the baseball for Florida State and for Florida later today. Storms could have locally heavy rainfall later today through this evening, and additional showers will be possible Wednesday. Rainfall amounts could range 1 to 3 inches because of a cold front moving into the area, damaging winds, large hail, and again, heavy rainfall expected. So I don't know if the games are going to begin on time, and as you know, if you followed Florida baseball on Saturday or Texas A&M baseball, the game was delayed from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central Time, and so they will play the game at pretty much any time. So keep it right here on 1010XL, and we'll continue to provide updates for you. We've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Florida State. Subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel, up-to-the-minute updates, analysis, and more. Plant the spear and subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles channel today.
June is Men's Health Month, so I just got a total body MRI scan. It was really simple, quite comfortable, and it only took about an hour. Total body MRI scans for abnormalities that may need attention soon. Be proactive with your health this month. Call Ackerman Cancer Center to learn more about total body MRI.
Raise the stakes on excitement at Best Bet, your go-to spot for unbeatable entertainment and unmatched hospitality. With locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the brand new Best Bet St. Augustine. No poker expertise? No problem. From high-stakes poker to casual games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em and Fortune Pie Gow, there's a game for everyone. Hungry for more? We're serving up delicious bites and craft cocktails, and we're open late. For details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet, your go-to spot for a thrilling night.
This is Hayes Carlion for QC Kinetics. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, give my friends at QC Kinetics a call at 904-274-5522 for a free consultation. They're serving the Jacksonville area with
Call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
as soon as possible
at 641-1010.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Attention skilled electricians, are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Lauren Brooks here for Hodges Mazda. Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. That's why the sales staff doesn't work on commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interests first. Whether you're looking for a brand new Mazda or a pre-owned vehicle, Hodges Mazda has a large selection to help you choose from. And every vehicle purchased from Hodges Mazda comes with 2 years free maintenance and free car washes for life. Now that is peace of mind. So visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at hodgesmazda.com.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
When persistent plumbing problems leave you feeling flushed, don't panic. Call Roland Reich. They quote all pricing in advance, so your only surprise is how quickly they'll solve your issue. Roland Reich Plumbing, plumbingjacksonville.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
I promise 859 and I think 910. I've caught my breath regarding that WNBA debate. Look, I don't have anything against those who have covered the league for 27 years. I don't have anything against the Andrea Carters of the world. But I do find, and I'll say it again for argument's sake, I do find, I don't want to say pearl clutching, but I'm going to call it the following for this indie rock band, this niche sport that it was, and now the fact that they have a crossover #1 hit chart on the pop charts, and they're all in a panic, I just find it fascinating because embrace debate, baby. Stephen A. Smith is the highest paid ESPN employee for a reason. It's because First Take and debate programs are the one thing besides live sports that drive eyeballs like no other. It's that simple. And if you could incorporate a live sport that also has drama, and look, I'm not comparing it to WWE like somebody on the text line suggested. Go down the line. Why do we watch the NFL? Great characters, great teams. Why do we watch the NBA? Definitely great characters. It's the same thing. And if you can't see past that, then I'm not sure you can actually see a road to growth for that league.
Yeah, I'm going to say my take is that I'm going to be sick of hearing that Gabe Davis is a downgrade over Calvin Ridley. If you missed it earlier in my tangent, brought to you by Chick-fil-A, these are all of the things that he's been first in the NFL in between 2020 and 2023. First down rate, touchdown rate, explosive rate, touchdown compared to target rate, He was top 5 in the yards per reception all 4 years. Also, and all while having the 47th target rate in the NFL. He also accounted for 14, which was most in the league for easy targets last season, aka meaning open end zone targets. He also had half the amount of drops as Calvin Ridley. He also had 30 less receptions and still had just over 200 less yards than Calvin Ridley. And oh, by the way, 7 touchdowns. So my take for today is don't be shocked if Gabe Davis goes ham this year.
Florida State, North Carolina is scheduled to start on time as of now. The NCAA will continue to monitor the weather forecast for, of course, that game and the Florida-Kentucky game tonight. So good luck to the Noles. Good luck to the Gators as they continue to battle in Omaha and apparently maybe also battle the weather. That is my takeaway today. That's going to do it for us. XL Primetime is coming up next, so don't go anywhere. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Start gonna walk all over you.